What is up, ladies and gents? Germinator here and Jordan coming to you live for some epic, big-time boss fights. This is me, Germinator, and Jordan.
Hi guys.
Here we go. So, tonight we will be featuring Bloodborne, and the first boss of the game would have to be, what is it?
Cleric base. And our good hunter is now wielding the saw spear weapon.
Alright, speaking of Cleric Beast, for most would-be hunters in the game right now, this essentially becomes the first skill test of the game, given that this boss is a big one. Speaking of skill test, Jordan, what were your first impressions when fighting the Cleric Beast?
For this one, it has to be like the PSD part. Because if you're a first time Souls player, this boss will definitely kill you in an instant.
That is true, since for the most part, most of the Soulsborne games usually employ you to become a little bit more defensive-minded when it comes to fighting bosses. But in this case, for Bloodborne, offense meets progress.
Yep.
That means you should be hitting the boss rather, as many times as you can, so that you can whittle down its health. But that said, it's easier said than done usually.
Yep.
So right now, our would-be hunter is getting swiped left and right by the Cleric Beast at the jump.
Yeah, I kind of noticed it's like dodging all the time, but it's a good like move for a new player. Just don't be greedy, guys.
Indeed, that's correct, Jordan. So right now you can see Craig Beast right now, specifically when it comes to its boss design, From Software has established this kind of character to become a limbed character, which as you can see right now,
He's getting staggered.
the cleric, the hunter just hit the pain threshold of the Cleric Beast by hitting its right arm. When the Cleric Beast pain threshold reaches its limit, it will get stunned and will leave him open for more damage.
Yep.
But unfortunately, our would-be hunter wasn't able to hit the wanted,
Perform the visceral attack.
indeed. So what can you say about the visceral attacks in this game, Jordan?
Yeah, for this one, unlike Dark Souls, we usually have a shield, right? But for this one, they gave you like this any weapon. Actually, you can choose like pistol. You can do that to stagger your enemy, and if you time it right, you can get your visceral attack in and get a ton of damage out of of the boss. Actually,
Indeed, you're correct, Jordan. And of course, for those first-time Bloodborne players who came from Dark Souls, the visceral attacks here are kind of hard to have a hard tell for the most part, since it seems like most of the bosses in Bloodborne just keep coming at you and don't have a visual tell that much compared to other Dark Souls games. Is that correct?
yep. Actually, the only thing that bothers me when it comes to like bosses in Bloodborne, the visual tells aren't very obvious because most of the bosses here are really huge, and you will have camera issues, and guessing what move will be a bit difficult, especially for new players.
That is correct, Jordan. So, speaking of,
Oh.
oh my god, the Cleric Beast going to town against our would-be hunter, doing in shades of Kevin Owens from WWE with some powerbomb ground and pound action.
It
Ladies
feels
and
like dying
gents.
actually. And our boy is furious.
Indeed, he's almost dying. Oh, but then again, he hits the Cleric Beast on the left arm and try to incapacitate it a bit, but unfortunately, again, our would-be hunter has not yet learned how to use the visceral attacks. A little bit unfortunate, don't you think, Jordan?
Yeah, I think if it was me, I will be furious if I didn't get that right because doing the visual attack, guys, is can actually help you win the game a lot. But for some veteran players, they call it like cheating because it takes away the action of the game. But if you're new, then visual attacks are your friend.
That is correct. So right now we can see, oh my god, the Cleric Beast just swiped left and instead of getting, rejected, he almost killed our would-be hunter, ladies and gents. And right now, as you can see,
He was lucky.
the blood vial count, essentially this is the pots in the game. Our would-be hunter is down to 10 blood vials. So again, for those who are new to this game, or this types of games, Bloodborne or any Soulsborne games, you need to be very deliberate when it comes to managing your stamina and blood vials. Why is that so, Jordan?
So, unlike Dark Souls, the blood vials here in Bloodborne, you actually have to use your money just to earn that. So if you don't have enough blood echoes for this instance, you won't be able to have the needed blood bias, and that, my friends, will be very difficult when facing bosses like this.
That is correct. And of course, as you mentioned, if you run out of stamina, you won't be able to dodge as well as use your weapon. It's unlike Sekiro, where in Sekiro you have infinite stamina because again you're using a ninja. But in this case, you are not a ninja. You're just a guy from the Victorian era trying his best to kill. And speaking of kill,
Ooh,
with an
it's the
excellent
stagger-
overhead
stagger
smash
again.
against the cleric beast. But unfortunately, he does not use the window to get a visceral attack in again.
Yeah, but I think I know what happened there. I think our good hunter was actually a bit nervous and he wasn't able to deliver the visceral attack on time.
That may be true. That could be the case there, Jordan. But right now, as you can see, Cleric Beast is almost down for the count. And right now, again, you can see that our would-be hunter is getting really up close and personal with the Cleric Beast's nether regions, specifically its thighs, for the most part.
Yeah.
That's also one thing that you should learn in Bloodborne, especially for against when battling against really big bosses. For some reason, they may be big and they might hit strong, hit hard, but their problem is, their one weakness is that usually they are not fast moving. They usually lumber about, and with that
Yep.
single hit,
The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
that is correct right there, Jordan. And with that in mind, the final strike with the saw cleaver sees our would-be hunter dispatching and slaughtering the first boss of Bloodborne, which is the Cleric Beast. And of course, we have the obligatory gestures, our celebratory gestures right now, which is joy as well as waving.
Yeah, he definitely earned that one. But I bet his heart is racing at 300 beats per minute.
That is correct. First boss of the game for big-time boss fights. Cleric Beast and Bloodborne, vanquished and done with. Alright, ladies and gents, so for now, second boss fight would have to be Father Gascoigne, or for those who are in the know or in the Bloodborne community, Father Gasoline.
Or Papa Gasolina.
So, Jordan, what's your first impressions when battling against Father Gasoline right here?
Well, if you must know, Father Gascoigne is actually like the legit first boss of the game, and Cleric Beast is like just the optional boss. So for this one, if this is the first boss that you're gonna encounter, I bet you'll even have a harder time compared to Cleric Beast, because this guy is not a beast but actually a humanoid-sized character.
That is correct. And unlike some of the bosses in Bloodborne, which are like towering behemoths and beasts, some of the boss fights here are against humans. So essentially, basically it's just you facing against another hunter. In this case, Father Gascoigne. As you can see right now, most of his weapon set deals with like usually using like the typical hunter set, which is like an axe as well as a gun, which can be used to parry your attacks as well. So speaking of parrying attacks, what are your suggestions, Jordan, when it comes to battling humanoids?
Yeah, for those who are new, parry attacks will actually help you, but for Soulsborne veteran, it's best to avoid visceral attacks, because in order to feel like the momentum of the game, you'll actually have to fight him as if you're fighting a real hunter. So for me, visceral attacks aren't recommended if you're a veteran, but if you're new to the game, you can have time attacks whenever he uses an axe, because that's the best parry window for him.
That is correct, Jordan. Okay, so right now we can see Father Gascoigne doing a number against our would-be hunter right now. It's interesting technique for this hunter wherein... Oh, there we
nice.
go! Finally,
There,
our
he
hunter
got the
uses a
visceral
visceral
attack in.
attack, ladies and gentlemen, and the crowd goes wild. Let's go. Okay, so
Oh yeah,
right now...
I would like to point out, yeah, you can also use the tiny music box if you have it. I think you can do it earlier if you want to get that box. It actually weakens him during his humanoid state.
Indeed, Jordan. Actually, right now, given the fact that Father Gascoigne is a boss, he has a peculiar weakness with the tiny music box. So for those who aren't in the know, the tiny music box comes from his daughter. I forgot the name of the daughter, unfortunately, but every time you play the music box, you can play it up to 3 times. And every time you play it, as you can see right now, as our would-be hunter did, what happens is it
Oh,
kind of stuns him for a
there
while.
we go.
But right now, as you can see,
Ooh, our hunter almost beat the dust.
Father Gascoigne has turned beast mode and feral.
Yeah, literally beast mode.
Oh my god, here we go. As you can see, his attacks become more erratic and they hurt like a truck. They hit like a truck, ladies and gents. Our would-be hunter is in dire straits right now, trying his best to bob and weave against this one. And thankfully, he still has that tiny music box as help. And Father Gascoigne can't stand tiny music box music. Here we go. He doesn't like the weird Chinese sounds,
He's
ladies
not
and
a fan of
gents.
EDM.
That said, again, for those who are in the know, jumping characters or transforming characters is also a thing here in Bloodborne. So better watch out for those characters and be mindful because when they transform, they hurt like hell when they hit.
And when bosses do that, better watch your back. Or your front, rather.
That is correct. And make sure that you have ample space for bobbing and weaving because if they hit you, they can combo you to oblivion and you will see yourself back in the hunter's dream faster than you can say what the hell happened there.
Yeah, and I would like to point out, JR, that it's better to fight Father Gascoigne like upstairs because you will have a hard time fighting him over these tombstones because you can get stuck easily when you're trying to dodge. So you will get killed very quickly if you do that.
Ooh, indeed, as you can see right now, dodging, as you said, bobbing and weaving. And here we go!
Oh.
Finally, our would-be hunter
Aw.
finally has slain Father Gasoline and gets the Odon Tomb Key,
Yeah,
ladies and gents.
If you
So,
listen carefully, like before Father Gascoigne died, you can hear him saying "Forgive me." So it's actually kind of a sad story if you read about it, especially what happened to his daughters.
that is true. It is a sad fate for Father Gascoigne and his family, but our would-be hunter would be shedding, or at least playing the smallest violin right now as he did his celebratory thing.